Hi, I'm Jasenia Salazar. This is my lab 2 for DSF. And so building off of what we made in lab 1, the clock timer, we have added a gate and a push button. And so the output of this 555 chip, the 3-pin, is connected to the secondary, the B input of this logic gate. And the output of this push button is the primary or the A input of this gate, seen by these green wires connecting the output of the push button to the input of the gate. Off of the output of the push button, there is a 220 ohm resistor and there is an LED, which will show whether or not the push button is outputting a 0 or a 1. Off of the output of the gate seen here, there's another 220 ohm resistor, and there is another LED connected to the resistor, which will show us whether or not the gate is outputting a 0 or a 1. And so, yes, let's get this circuit started. So I've turned on the power supply, which is coming from the USB, and we have it at 5 volts on both sides. And so we will try and figure out what gate this is. And so this input is alternating 0 and 1. And so we can see that when we only have one input or we have no input, there is no output from the gate. So whenever I output a 1 from the push button, which is inputting a 1 into the gate, we see that we can only get a 1 out of the gate whenever I'm inputting both the output from the push button, which is a 1, and there's a 1 from the clock. And so this means that it's an AND gate because you require both of the inputs to be 1 to yield a 1. So let's test out this other gate. And so, okay. And so we see that it's a 1 when there is either no inputs or there's only one input. So we can check what it is when there's both inputs being a 1. So we can see that whenever both the clock and the push button are outputting 1, there is no 1 from the gate. But whenever there's no input or only one input, the gate inputs a 1, which means it's a NAND gate. Hi, so now to look at the voltages at various points in the circuit. And so as we can see here, we have in a power voltage, the power supply voltage is 5 volts because we've designated it to be. So let's check the output of the voltage of the output LED, which is a different color of the input LEDs, which is a relevant fact we will see. So the voltage at this output LED, 1.88, essentially 2 volts. So let's look at this blue LED, the input LED. So it's ranging quite a bit. So it ranges from 2 to 0, depending on whether it's on or off, 2.23. So now let's look at the output of the push button whenever it's actually on. So this is about 3, 2.91, and then 0 if there's no output from the push button. Let's look at the resistor, the 220 ohm resistor, which is off of the output of the push button. Must be doing something wrong. Okay, great. So it is essentially at 2.12. Now let's look at the output, the 220 ohm resistor, which comes off of the output of the gate, and we can see that the gate is outputting a 1 right now. Okay, so essentially 2.72 volts. Thank you.